Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something super useful, 50 English phrases you absolutely must know to sound more like a native speaker. We're not talking about textbook English, we're talking about real, everyday English that people actually use. So, if you're ready to level up your conversation skills, let's get started. First up, let's cover some friendly daily greetings and phrases. Instead of just saying "How are you?" try "What's up?" It's a casual way to ask what someone is doing. A typical response could be "Not much, just chilling." Another super common one is "How's it going?" It's similar to "How are you?" but a bit more relaxed. You can reply with "Good, you?" When you're making plans, you'll hear these all the time. If a friend suggests getting coffee, you can say "Sounds good" or "I'm down." Both mean you agree and want to go. If you're the one making the suggestion, you can say "Let's do it" to get things moving. And if you make a small mistake or someone apologizes for something minor, a friendly "No worries" is perfect. It means it's not a problem. Now, let's move on to reactions. These are the short phrases we use to show surprise, understanding, or disbelief. If you hear something shocking or unbelievable, you might say "Are you kidding me?" or "No way." For example, if your friend tells you they won the lottery, "No way" is the perfect reaction. When you understand something someone is explaining, you can say "I get it" or "That makes sense." This shows you're following along. For instance, if a colleague explains a complex process and you finally understand, you can say, "Ah, okay, that makes sense now." These little phrases make the conversation flow so much better. Next, agreeing and disagreeing. When you agree with someone, instead of a simple "yes," you can say "True enough," or you can say "That again." If you want to show you see their point, even if you don't fully agree, "Fair point" is a great choice. It shows you're listening and respecting their opinion. On the flip side, if you're not so sure, you can politely disagree by saying "I'm not so sure about that." It's softer than a direct "I disagree." Or you could say, "I see what you're saying, but..." and then offer your own perspective. These are key for having smooth, respectful debates. Let's talk about softeners and fillers. These are words that natives sprinkle into their sentences to sound more natural and less direct. Words like "kinda" and "sorta" are short for "kind of" and "sort of." For example, "It's kinda cold today." It just softens the statement a little. We also use "gotta" for "got to," as in "I gotta go now." Another huge one is "You know what I mean?" You add this to the end of a sentence to check if the other person is following your point. "I mean" is a classic filler used at the start of a sentence when you're regathering your thoughts or want to clarify something. For example, "I mean, it's a good idea, but we need to think about the cost." Now for some real-life expressions you'll hear and use constantly. When you're heading somewhere, you can text or say "I'm on my way." If a problem comes up and you want to show you can handle it, you say "I'll take care of it." It's a great way to show you're responsible and capable. When you need a moment to think, instead of just being silent, you can say "Let me think." Or let me see." This signals to the other person that you're considering their question. If you need someone to wait, you can say "Hang on a sec" or "Just a moment." Let's dive into some more phrases that will make you sound super natural. When you want to suggest something casually, you can start with "How about?" For example, "How about we grab dinner tonight?" It's a friendly way to make a suggestion. If you have no preference about a decision, you can say "It's up to you" or "I'm easy." If your friends are deciding where to eat, and you're happy with any choice, "I'm easy" is the perfect response. When you finish a task, you can say "I'm done" or "all set." If you're at a cafe and the barista asks if you need anything else, you can say "I'm all set, thanks." To wish someone luck, we often say "break a leg." It sounds strange, but it's a very common idiom, especially before a performance. For general good luck, you can say fingers crossed. If you haven't seen someone in a long time, you can say long time no see. It's a classic, friendly greeting. And when you're leaving, instead of just goodbye, you can say catch you later, or take it easy. Let's add a few more for good measure. When you're completely exhausted, you can say I'm beat or I'm wiped out. For example, after a long week of work, you might say I'm totally beat, I just want to sleep. If you want to end a discussion or activity, you can say let's call it a day. This is common in work settings when it's time to go home. When you barely manage to do something, you can say by the skin of my teeth. For instance, I passed the exam by the skin of my teeth. It means you just barely succeeded. If something is very expensive, you might hear a native say it costs an arm and a leg. For example, that new phone costs an arm and a leg. And a great phrase for when you agree with someone completely is you hit the nail on the head. It means they've identified the issue perfectly. Phew, that was a lot, but trust me, integrating these phrases into your daily conversations will make a huge difference. Let's do a quick recap of a few key ones. What's up? Sounds good. No way. That makes sense. Fair point. You know what I mean, and I'm on my way. Start with a few of these. Pick 3 or 4 that you like and try to use them this week. Don't try to memorize all 50 at once. The key is to get comfortable with them until they become a natural part of your speech. Listen for them in movies, TV shows, and in conversations with native speakers. You'll be surprised how often you hear them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this list helpful. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more English learning tips. Let me know in the comments which phrase is your favorite or if there are any other phrases you'd like to learn about. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So you know the situation, right? You're learning English. Maybe you've been at it for years. You've got the test scores, thousands of vocabulary words. You can handle all the complex grammar.
You can conjugate verbs in your sleep.
Exactly. But then the minute a native speaker just throws out some casual, everyday phrase, it's like the whole context just vanishes.
It completely melts away.
Yeah, it sounds so natural coming from them, but for the learner, it feels, impenetrable.
And that gap, that's what we're talking about today. The space between the textbook, the perfect grammar,
right,
and what people actually say, real world fluency.
Yeah.
That's precisely what we're attacking in this deep dive.
So what's the mission here?
It's direct. We're taking the ultimate shortcut to sounding natural. We've pulled together this collection of 50 absolutely essential conversation phrases.
50 of them.
And they're curated to cover the most critical, most common life scenarios you're going to run into.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little. We're not just focusing on a list of words.
No, not at all.
This is about essential situational language. It seems like this whole deep dive is designed to, bypass that awkward trial and error phase of learning English.
That's the goal. It's the difference between knowing the dictionary definition of the word trim.
Okay.
And just instinctively knowing how to walk into a barbershop and ask for one without a second of hesitation.
Context is everything.
It is. And these phrases, we're thinking of them as quick, immediately actionable nuggets of knowledge.
I like that. Nuggets.
They cover so much ground. I mean, the technical expertise you need to just navigate a city or handle a transaction or even, deal with some drama at home.
Right.
So we're going to distill the core usage, the grammar that's kind of hiding underneath, and most importantly, the cultural context so you can just deploy these phrases instantly and with confidence.
So by the time we're done here, you won't just know what they mean. You'll get why and when to use them, giving you, 50 new tools for real, confident interaction.
That's the plan.
All right, so let's start with the language of logistics. How we get around, how we buy things.
The basics.
Yeah, but it's high-stakes language, isn't it? A simple mistake here, and you could, buy the wrong size, miss a flight, or get completely lost for an hour.
Absolutely. So let's start with directions.
Okay.
And what's really fascinating here, and something that often trips up learners, is the cultural preference for softening suggestions.
What do you mean by that?
especially when you're talking to a stranger or even just trying to rally your friend who you're traveling with. Take the classic phrase for when you're both confused. Why don't we just ask someone where it is?
Ah, that's a classic. It's kind of like passive-aggressive teamwork.
A little bit, yeah.
It suggests asking for help instead of, guessing or fighting over the map. But structurally, why that phrasing? Why don't we?
It all comes down to the structure. That phrase, why don't we? It functions as what grammarians would call a modal of suggestion. It's a way to propose an action without, and this is key, without issuing a command.
I see. So if you just said, ask someone where it is, that's a command.
It is, and it can sound really abrupt, maybe even a little rude, depending on the tone.
Right.
But by framing it as a question, why don't we you soften it? It makes the whole suggestion feel collaborative.
Inclusive.
Exactly. And that makes it socially acceptable. You hear this structure all the time for any kind of suggestion. Why don't we try that cafe over there?
That makes perfect sense. It's like a little efficiency hack wrapped up in politeness. Speaking of getting around, let's talk about distance. Is the museum walking distance from here?
This phrase is so incredibly useful. It's efficient because it packages a pretty precise idea into simple, common language.
So what is walking distance?
The source defines it really clearly. It just means close enough to walk comfortably, usually, 10, maybe 15 minutes. It gets you past needing to know the exact mileage or getting confusing directions.
And it's so versatile, you can just swap out the museum for anything.
Anything at all. The coffee shop, the library, the subway station, It's universal. But now, what if the answer is no? If it's too far to walk? The natural follow-up uses a slightly different modal of suggestion.
Which would be?
We should take an Uber.
Ah, the word should. That immediately feels like a recommendation.
Precisely. We're reinforcing the use of should as a modal for suggestion, or maybe necessity, and it's always followed by the base verb take.
So, we should take an Uber. You should eat something.
They should comment. It's proposing a course of action based on logic or need. It's a bit more direct than the why don't we structure.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit. You're lost, you're trying to figure out where you are, maybe call a ride. You need to know your exact spot. What street are we on?
Okay, here is a tiny but absolutely vital prepositional nugget.
I'm ready.
The required preposition is on. Native speakers are on a street. You're on Fifth Avenue, you're on Main Street.
So a common mistake would be in or at.
A very common mistake. Learners often say, I'm in Fifth Avenue. And while you might be at an intersection or in a city, you're always on a street.
It's one of those little details that's a huge tell.
It's a definitive hallmark of sounding natural. That one small word carries so much weight.
Okay. And what if the GPS is dead, you've messed up completely, and you just have to admit it?
The simplest, most universal phrase is just, I think we're lost.
And the structure there is important, right?
It's crucial. For everyone, beginners to advanced, the structure is to be lost. You use the verb to be to describe that state of being disoriented.
What's the mistake people make?
A common sort of literal translation is to say, I lost myself.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
It just sounds very odd to a native speaker. You have to use the construction, I am lost, or we are lost. It implies the state you're in, not that you deliberately misplaced yourself somewhere.
Right. All right, so we've navigated the streets. Now let's go spend some money.
Let's head into a store.
We need the language for shopping and customer service.
And the first rule of asking a question to a stranger, especially in a store, is you have to be polite. You start with, excuse me, how much is this?
Excuse me. It's like the polite password to start a conversation.
It is. It gets their attention without being alarming. And this, of course, is what you say when you're pointing right at the thing. The context is visual.
Okay, so you know the price. Now maybe you need a different size or a different color.
This leads us to the next phrase. And again, it all hangs on one tiny preposition. Do you have this in medium or, in yellow?
Let me guess. The magic word is in.
You got it. It is. When you're talking about size or color or even the material, the required preposition is in.
Do you have this in this size and that color?
In cotton. It's another one of those small structural details, but getting these prepositions right just instantly boosts your fluency. The quality is contained in the item.
That's a great way to think about it. Okay, and if you're buying clothes, you have to know if they fit.
Before you commit, right?
Yeah.
So you ask, where can I try this on?
That's the one.
It's the concise, universal way to ask for the changing room or the fitting room. It's direct. And that phrasal verb, try on, it's pretty specific to clothes and shoes.
You wouldn't try on a necklace.
Exactly. You just try a necklace. Try on is for things you wear.
Got it. Okay, let's talk savings. Everyone loves a sale. You see something you like near a sale sign, but you're not sure.
So you need to verify. Is this included in the sale?
A critical question.
Because sales language can be so vague, you're just asking if the specific item you're holding is part of that deal.
Right. And then you get to the checkout. And with, everyone being more environmentally conscious, plus some stores charging for bags.
You often have to say no to the bag.
So if you brought your own, you just say,
I don't need a bag.
Simple. But it implies a whole context, doesn't it? It says you're prepared or you're just opting out of their packaging.
Exactly. It's an efficient little phrase to complete the transaction and signal that you're ready to go.
All right, we've got our shopping done. Now we definitely need a recharge.
Coffee time.
We're moving to the cafe, which is probably the most common everyday place for these kinds of transactions.
And they're often loud, they're busy, and you need to be precise with your language and fast.
Speed and efficiency. Got it. So let's start with the basic operational stuff, logistics.
Right. So maybe you're planning to work there for a bit. You need to know, what time do you close today? Simple, direct, necessary.
And then after you've paid, you can streamline things. I don't need a receipt.
Again, it's a small phrase, but it carries some weight. It just means you don't need the paper record, and it usually speeds things up a tiny bit. Signals you're done.
Okay, now for the modern essentials. If you're going to settle in and work, you need the internet.
Of course, you can ask the full question, what's the Wi-Fi password? Or, and this is what native speakers often do, you just shorten it.
To what?
Simply, what's the Wi-Fi?
I hear that all the time.
The efficiency of that is a great example of assumed context. You're in a cafe. Of course you're asking for the password. It's not a philosophical question about the technology.
Right. It's a very natural abbreviation. And what about power? My phone is always dying.
Especially after a long morning of deep dives.
Exactly.
So you ask, is there somewhere I can plug in my laptop or my phone?
And that introduces another great phrasal verb, plug in.
Yes. Plug in means to connect a device to an outlet to a power source. You wouldn't really say, where can I connect my phone to the electricity?
That sounds very clunky.
Very. Plug in is the standard concise verb you need here.
Okay, before we actually order coffee, let's handle a really essential, if slightly awkward, scenario.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You're in the restroom and there's a problem. You have to tell an employee, sorry, but there's no toilet paper.
This is a golden nugget for cultural fluency. It really is. The source specifically points out that the word sorry at the beginning.
Is that an apology?
It is not an apology for doing something wrong. It's a casual, polite way to get someone's attention.
Right.
To signal, excuse me, I need to interrupt you with some urgent or sensitive information.
That is such a critical distinction because learners often think sorry always means regret. But here, it's just an interruption marker.
It's a flag. And it works anytime you need to interrupt a service worker or a stranger for something minor. If you're trying to get past someone in a crowded aisle, you might just say sorry.
Or if the barista forgot your muffin.
Exactly. You'd start with, sorry, but I think I also ordered a muffin. It just softens the whole interruption so you don't sound demanding.
Excellent. Okay, now let's actually order that coffee. What's the standard way to do it?
The most common structure is declarative and decisive. You use the contraction, I'll get a you, and then your order.
I'll get a small cappuccino.
Perfect. That I'll, which is I will, it implies an immediate decision you're ready to go. It's concise, and it's considered a little more polite and efficient than saying, I want.
Which can sound a little bit demanding, maybe a little childish.
You can, yeah. It's just smoother.
What if you need to customize it? Let's say you like your coffee really hot.
Use this structure. Can you make it extra hot? And the key verb phrase there is make it.
Which just means prepare it.
Exactly. Prepare it in this specific way. You can customize anything with that. Can you make it with oat milk? Can you make it decaf? The structure is always the same.
And what if your plans change? You thought you were going to stay, but now you have to leave.
You just clarify. Actually, I'll get it to go. To go is the essential term. It means you're taking it with you.
As opposed to for here.
Right. Or to stay.
Now, for one of my favorites, this is that fascinating negation in ordering. If you want to leave something off.
Right, like an optional topping.
You say, hold the whipping cream.
This is such a classic piece of idiomatic service language. So first, notice that it's in the imperative. It's a direct instruction.
A command.
A polite command. And the verb hold in this context means don't include or omit or don't add. It is so common and so universally understood in the food service industry.
So if you don't want mayonnaise on your sandwich,
You say hold the mayo.
yeah.
If you want to sound like a native, you absolutely must use hold.
Okay. And before we leave, you spot the pastries. You need to know what's in them.
What kind of muffins are these?
Simple enough.
Just a basic inquiry about the flavor or the type. You know, are they blueberry? Are they chocolate chip?
Yeah.
You're asking for the specifics. Hashtag tag IVOV, social life and personal maintenance.
Okay, we have handled our public errands. Now let's shift gears a little bit. Interpersonal relationships, self-care. This is where fluency really gets to shine, right? Because the language is less rigid, more idiomatic than just ordering a coffee.
Exactly. Socializing requires a certain ease, a familiarity with the language.
Yeah.
So let's start with connecting with friends. The simplest way to get a plan started is just a direct question.
Which is,
Are you free this weekend?
and if they say yes, you follow up with a casual invitation. And this uses a really essential verb. Let's grab coffee after work.
The verb grab here is so crucial. It's highly idiomatic. It almost never means you're physically grasping something.
Right, it means get or have.
Yeah, or go for.
Yeah.
And it's always in a casual, quick way. Let's grab lunch. Let's grab a beer. It implies something spontaneous and relaxed, not a formal sit-down dinner.
And if it's a friend you haven't seen in a while, there's that classic phrase to reconnect.
The hopeful intention phrase. We need to catch up soon.
Catch up. That's a great one.
It's a beautiful and necessary phrasal verb. It means to talk and reconnect, to share updates on your lives. It's just vital for maintaining any kind of casual relationship.
And for a more general question about someone's plans, especially for the weekend.
The key question is, what are you up to this weekend?
Up to. This is where the idioms really take over.
You do. Up to is the idiomatic replacement for doing. Now, what are you doing this weekend is perfectly correct grammatically.
But it sounds a little stiff.
It does. What are you up to? Sounds significantly more natural, more casual. Mastering that one little phrase just makes you sound so much more integrated into a conversation.
So how do you reply to that?
A typical reply would be, I'm just relaxing at home this weekend.
And the structure there is interesting.
It is, because it's a common point of confusion. Notice the present continuous tense, I'm relaxing, even though the plan is for the future.
For this weekend.
Right. We use that continuous form for near future personal plans that are already set. And crucially, the source points this out, up to, is only in the question. You don't use it in the reply.
You wouldn't say, I'm up to relaxing.
No, that sounds very strange. You just state what you're doing.
Okay, let's pivot to personal maintenance. We're at the salon or the barbershop. You need to tell the stylist why you're there.
So you set the context, often with the present continuous again, I'm just getting a haircut. It confirms your purpose.
And if you're a regular, a loyal customer, you can use the ultimate shortcut.
The one that signals a lot of familiarity, just the usual.
And that's such a powerful phrase. It goes beyond the salon.
It does. It means you want your regular cut, but you could use it at your favorite cafe for your regular drink. It implies a whole history of transactions.
But if you're new, or you just want something simple,
You might need to specify that. Nothing fancy, just a trim.
let's define those terms. Nothing fancy.
That's a way of saying you don't want anything new or unique or complicated. It implies simplicity, routine.
And a trim.
A trim is not a style change. It's a small cut, specifically to keep the hair tidy and maintain the current shape. It's very important to use the word trim if you don't want them to cut off a lot of hair.
A very important distinction. Okay, what if you have a specific problem, like damaged hair?
You might focus on that. Just clean up the split ends.
Split ends being the dead part of the hair.
Right, the frayed tips. And the phrasal verb clean up here means to tidy or to fix, or in this case, to remove the bad parts. It means cut off the split ends. It's a polite way to ask for that.
And finally, a specific style request that adds some dimension.
Can you add some layers?
And layers is a technical term.
It is. It's a haircut with different lengths to add texture and volume. Using a specific word like layers shows that you're confident and you know exactly what you want. Hashtag tag V health, family, and household operations.
All right, now we are entering the really high stakes part of daily life, the language of home. We're talking healthcare, family schedules, and of course, the inevitable maintenance emergencies. This stuff requires precision.
And often a sense of urgency. Let's start with healthcare and appointments. So you're not feeling well, you need to see a doctor quickly, but you don't have an appointment.
What do you ask?
Do you accept walk-ins?
And what exactly is walk in?
Well, walk-in just means you don't need a pre-scheduled appointment. You can just walk in, sign up, and wait to be seen. It's asking about their policy on spontaneous service.
And you can use that at hair salons too, right?
Exactly. Hair salons, nail salons, any place that might offer immediate service.
Okay, what if you did have a booking, but something came up and you can't make it?
You need to change it. So you say, I need to reschedule my appointment.
And the structure there is important for vocabulary building.
It is. That prefix, por, it literally means to schedule again. We use it when we want to change the time or the date. If you just cancel, that's it. It's gone. Reschedule says you still want the appointment, just at a different time.
Got it. Now, what if you're in real pain, like a bad toothache, and you need to be seen right away?
You need to check for immediate availability. Are there any appointments available today?
That conveys clear urgency.
It does. You're emphasizing today, asking if there's any opening at all right now.
And after you've had a test, there's that anxious waiting period for the news.
When will my results be in?
Be in. That's the key phrasal verb there.
It is. It just means be available or be ready for review. It's a quick, direct way to ask about the timeline.
Okay, finally, the paperwork side of things. Keeping your records current.
I need to update my address on file.
Let's break that down. On file.
On file means it's in the clinic's official records. And update means to provide the most recent information. Your address, phone number, insurance, whatever's changed.
It's the specific formal language you need for that kind of bureaucracy.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to chores and errands. The daily grind of managing a household. Let's start with the classic kitchen crisis.
We're out of milk.
The structure there to be out of is so critical.
Absolutely. It means you have none left. Zero. The supply is gone. And you use it for anything you can run out of.
We're out of bread, out of laundry detergent.
We ran out of gas. It's universal for depletion.
Now, when you need help with a bigger task, like making dinner or moving a sofa,
You use a warm idiom instead of just saying, help me.
can you give me a hand with dinner?
Give me hand is the perfect idiomatic equivalent of help me. It's casual, it's warm, and you can use it with anyone. Your kids, your spouse, your roommate. It softens the request.
Okay, daily logistics. Coordinating transportation, especially with kids.
Are you picking the kids up?
So that's the two-part phrasal verb, pick up.
It is. And it's specifically about collecting someone, usually in a car. And notice the object, the kids, can go in the middle.
Picking the kids up.
Or the end. Are you picking up the kids today? Both are perfectly fine.
And running errands often means making these little detours.
Quick stops. Can we stop by the bank on the way home?
Stop by.
It's a friendly phrasal verb. It means to visit quickly, briefly. It implies it's not a major stop, just a quick detour on your way to your main destination.
And if the car itself is the problem, it's making a weird noise?
The classic drama starter. You have to schedule maintenance. I'm taking the car into the garage tomorrow.
And here, the garage means something very specific.
A very crucial clarification.
Yeah.
In this context, the garage is the commercial shop where a mechanic repairs the car.
It's not the garage attached to your house where you park.
Exactly. Context tells you which one it is.
Okay, let's zoom in on parenting logistics. Managing kids' schedules is a full-time job.
It really is. So you need reminders. Remember that parent-teacher night is on Thursday.
And a parent-teacher night is.
It's just a meeting between the parents and the teachers to talk about how the kid is doing in school. It's a standard part of the school year.
And kids' social lives are also highly scheduled.
They are. Which gives us this unique noun phrase. Cindy has a play date at Ashley's tonight.
Two things to note there. Play date.
It's an arranged time for kids to play, organized by the adults. And second, notice the possessive, Ashley's.
It implies Ashley's house.
It does. You omit the word home or house because it's understood.
When schedules get crazy, you might forget something you've already asked.
So you need a gentle reminder that also admits you're being a little forgetful. What time is soccer practice again?
That one little word, again.
It does so much work. It implies you've already asked this, but you forgot the answer. It's a very natural way to repeat a question without sounding like you're nagging.
Right. And a key part of parenting, making sure the schoolwork gets done.
Did you check all his homework?
Check here means to review or verify.
Right. Depending on the kid's age, it could mean checking if it's done, if it's correct, or just if it's in the backpack, ready to go.
And finally, enrolling them in activities. I signed Sheldon up for piano lessons.
Most people know sign up for themselves. But this shows you can sign someone else up for something. The structure is sign the person up for the activity.
Okay, we have to finish our domestic tour with the inevitable high anxiety part of home life.
Oh boy.
The language of things breaking down, household problems.
Let's start with the most immediate and damaging one, water. The dishwasher's leaking.
And you so often hear that word again tacked on to the end of that, the dishwasher is leaking again.
Implying this is not the first time. The structure is the present continuous is leaking because it's happening right now and causing stress.
And to leak just means water is coming out where it shouldn't be.
From a pipe, a faucet, a refrigerator.
Yeah. Then there's the dreaded power outage. Total chaos.
The power went out for over an hour this morning.
Okay, let's analyze that failure. The verb is to go out.
It is. The subject is the power, and the verb is the past tense went out. The power went out means the electricity stopped. Everything just shut off. It's the universal phrase for a blackout.
Another common supply issue, especially for us remote workers.
I know this one. My printer ran out of ink.
Ran out of...
It's the past tense of the phrasal verb run out of. We already had out of, but adding run emphasizes that process of using something up until it's gone. Zero left.
And when a machine is just misbehaving, not totally broken, but not right.
We turn to this classic idiomatic phrase for a malfunction. The oven is acting up again.
To act up. That's such a great one.
It's fantastic. The phrasal verb is to act up, and here it's in the present continuous. It means it's not working properly, it's being erratic. And the best part is its versatility.
You can use it for anything.
Anything. My computer's acting up, the microphone is acting up, or even a person. The kids were acting up at school. It's the perfect phrase for minor malfunction or bad behavior.
And if that oven has been acting up one too many times, you finally reach the end of the line.
The final decision.
Well,
We need to replace the washer and dryer.
replace. The final word.
It is. It's the end of the maintenance cycle. It just means get new ones. Because the old ones are broken or just acting up too much. It's when you stop trying to repair and start investing in new.
Wow. That was an extensive dive into practical English.
It really was.
We've synthesized 50 essential phrases, and we put them into 9 major life scenarios, from asking directions all the way to a broken appliance.
And for each one, we didn't just list the words. We tried to give the structure underneath, the right prepositions, the right modals.
And the cultural context, that's so important.
Absolutely. I mean, that structural accuracy, that's what separates a student who's just advanced from someone who sounds truly fluent. Knowing that you're on a street or that you have to say, hold the woos when you're ordering, it just changes your sound and your confidence.
And the source material really hammers this home. Confidence only comes from repetition, from practice. This isn't a one-and-done listen.
Right.
The key is reviewing these phrases again and again until they're just automatic, ready for you to grab them when you need them. And think back to where we started this conversation. That frustration of knowing all the grammar rules but still not sounding natural.
Right. We spent time on those common errors, like saying, I am lost, instead of the literal translation, I lost myself.
Or why don't we?
Yeah.
Is so much better than just giving a direct command.
Those are the nuggets. That's the context that makes the language really flow.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? These aren't just, 50 words to memorize.
No.
They're tools for immediate, confident interaction. Don't just memorize the list. Try to internalize the 9 situational scripts that we covered.
And, here's a final provocative thought for you to maybe chew on this week.
Okay.
Of the 9 categories we talked about, directions, shopping, cafes, friends, the salon, healthcare, chores, parenting, and household problems, which one of those causes you the most language anxiety?
That's a great question.
Which situation, if you were dropped into it tomorrow, would make you hesitate the most?
So identify your weak spot.
Yeah. Exactly. And focus on mastering just those 5 to 7 phrases from that one single category this week. That small, targeted deep dive into your personal anxiety zone. That is going to yield exponential fluency. It will make those real-life interactions feel so much smoother, so much more predictable.
Start there.
Start there. And then listen to this whole deep dive again just to make sure all those other structures are really locking into place.